Hello friends, in this video we will be discussing about the concept of structure. How to use structure in C programming that we try to understand. So first of all we need to understand what is the need of structure. So all of you during the discussion of array we have seen that once we declare one variable like this integer value of 10. So what will happen, a memory block will be created of 2 bytes. Okay, and once I modify the value of that particular variable, so it was initially 10 but now it is replaced by 20. So the problem with a single variable declaration or the constraint is it can able to handle only one value at a time. So the solution we have seen is that the array, if you need to store the result of or marks of one subject for the whole class, so you can declare array like this. I can declare one array like this. Suppose I have 50 students in my class. Just by writing this, I can able to have the list of or all 50 members or all 50 different locations will be available to me. But again, what is the constraint of array? So the constraint of array is what? The value I can store is 50. But all must be of which type? Integer type. I cannot able to club other data type into this. Now problem comes is if I want to make mark sheet. Now mark sheet when we talk about, it contains name, it contains roll number, it contains marks of different subjects, like various data types it may contain. That if we talk about name, that can be character array, this can be integer, this can be integer. Likewise we may have collection of different data types in mark sheet. So that is not possible with the help of array. So what we need to do now? So the solution is structure. So structure can be used to club different data types into a single unit. So this is what the need of structure is. The limitation of array, it can able to hold a same data type value, but to overcome that limitation in our C programming we have the concept of structure. Now how to declare a structure? Very simple. There are three things. We need to declare a structure first. Then second is declaring an object, and then accessing data member of the structure. Okay, these three things are there. So first of all, whenever we are trying to declare a structure, we need to use this keyword struct. This is the keyword, we cannot able to replace it. The struct keyword is to be used. Then the name can be any. Okay, here the name of the structure can be any. If you are making structure for student, it can be student. If you are making structure for book, so it can be book. It can be like you are correcting the songs. You are making structure for songs, so it can be struct song. So likewise, structure name can be any. Now what is this data member is? Data member is what you need to incorporate within the structure. Just in the previous example or the previous discussion we have seen that mark sheet. So mark sheet contains name, then we have seen that it should contain roll number, or suppose we assume that it contains total. So all these three is known as data member. So whatever the data member you want to add, that can be added over here. So data members, it can be 1, 2, 3, up to any number of data member can be there. Then we will be closing the curly braces, and very important is the semicolon. So structure should be ended with the semicolon. So this is how structure can be declared. Again, struct keyword is to be used, the name of the structure, then all the data members are to be declared, closing the curly braces, and lastly semicolon. After that, we need to use object. Now you might have questioned that why we need to have object. So for example, I have declared one structure here, struct std. In that I have only one member, integer total. Just to understand, I have only one member, integer total. Now when I write main function, I need to write like this, integer main. and then something something something. Now I need to suppose scan the value of total. So if I write this ampersand total, then what will happen? So total is assumed to be a local variable of the main, but the scope of this total variable which you have declared, the total variable is declared within the structure. So we know that the scope of the variable is within the curly braces. So curly braces starts from here, it stops over here. So the scope of this particular variable is within this curly braces. So the problem is how we can able to access this total variable in main method. So the problem is how we can access this total variable within main method. So this is the problem. So to overcome this problem or to increase the scope of a structure variable or the data member of the structure, what we need to do? We need to create the object. We need to create the object of the structure. So it is very important part to access all the data members of structure within main function. You need to have object with you. Okay. So now we try to understand how to create the object. So there are two ways to create the object. First is you can create the object within main method. So simply like in a variable declaration we used to write like this integer a. So integer is our predefined data type and a is the variable name. So object is almost a variable, but it is a special type of variable because in that variable the data type will be user defined. This structure is user defined type because this structure name is given by user, so that this is known as user defined type. So what we will be writing here, this struct and structure name will be playing the role of data type. Okay, it is playing the role of data type, and then object name is playing the role of variable. So it is almost similar as this integer a, but in place of integer we will be writing struct structure name. So this will be the data type, or it is known as user defined data type, and in place of a we will be writing the object name. Again, object name is the identifier. It can be any. You can write obj, you can write a, b, c, whatever. So in main method, if you want to declare an object, you can write like this struct name of the structure and the object name. You can able to create many number of objects by comma separated, like we used to write in this a comma b comma c, like anything like this. Okay. Now the second way of declaring a structure is this, that if you don't want to declare it within main method, what you can do, you have declared a structure, like here you have declared a structure and you are closing the structure declaration by curly braces, and then you are putting semicolon. In between these two curly braces and semicolon, you can mention the objects. It can be one, it can be more. If you want to declare only one object, you write obj1 and semicolon. If you want to have more than one object, you can write like this and semicolon. So you can declare object like this also. So as a user, we can either adopt this method or this method. Yes. Can we use both? Yes. But only the thing is object name should be different. If I write here obj1 and if I write here obj2, fine, two objects will be created. One is obj1, one is obj2. One by declaring in main method, one by along with the structure declaration. So that is fine. So this is very important step. We need to create the object. And last thing, now once object is available, how we can able to access the data member in main? We cannot directly write total. Okay, we cannot directly write total. It should be accessed like this. We need to write the object name first, then the dot operator, and then the member name. So in that case, we need to write obj1, then dot, and then total. This is the way to access any data member in main method. So now by writing this, you can able to access a data member declared within the structure in main method. So there are three things. We need to declare a structure first. We need to declare the object, and then we can able to access the data member within the main method using this format object name dot member name. Okay, now we try to understand the same concept with an example. Very simple example is there. So here we are creating the structure for a student. So we have written struct and then the name I have given is std. Now I need to have data member like name, roll number and marks. So I need to have these three data members. So my requirement is this, so that I have declared three data members within it. So you can observe one is character array and another two are integer variables. Then I'll close the braces and I'll put a semicolon at the end. So this is structure declaration part. Now second important part we have seen, that was object declaration. So here you can see, since my name of the structure is struct std, so my data type here is struct std and the object name can be anything. I have written obj. So obj. Then after we have seen the third part, how to access your data members within the main method. So it was object name dot data member name. So here my object name is obj. So obj dot data member is name. Here you can see the data member is name. So obj dot name. So I cannot directly write name. I need to write object name dot data member name. In scanf, you can see if I want to get the value of roll number, I am writing obj dot roll number, obj dot marks. If when I print it, it will be obj dot name, obj dot roll number, obj dot marks. So all the things are same. Scanning the values, printing the values, if you want to manipulate the value, if you want to use the value for some operation, everything will be same. Only the change is you cannot directly write the member name. The member name is to be written along with the object name and the dot operator. This is only the change. No other change. Everything other than this remains same. Now we try to execute this code. What will happen? What will happen over here? We talk about some sort of memory, how it will occupy the memory. So when you create object, so what amount of memory it will occupy? So yes, memory occupied, memory equals to sum of the memory occupied by all the members of structure, right? It means what amount of memory this data member will occupy? It will occupy 10 bytes. Why 10 bytes? Since it is character occupies 1 and this is array of 10 element, it will occupy 10 bytes. So this is 10 bytes. This will occupy 2 bytes. This will occupy 2 bytes. So we need to make the sum. So sum is 14 bytes. So it is 14 bytes. So when this particular memory will be allocated, so it is allocated like this. To assume it or to understand it, we assume that one object is created and the name of the object is this obj. The memory of this is 14 bytes. But in this box or in this particular container, there will be three containers. The one container is of name. It occupies how many bytes? 10 bytes. One another container is of roll number. And the third container is of marks. This will occupy 2 bytes. This will occupy 2 bytes. So if you make sum, so it is 14 bytes. So memory will be allocated like this. So the object, this object will contain or will be having this type of, logically we can say this type of collection. So this is obj and the size of obj is 14 bytes. But how 14 bytes? So in this big box there are three small boxes. Why three? Because we have three data members. Okay, we have three data members, so that there are three boxes and each box will occupy some memory. So it will occupy 10. This is occupying 2 and 2. So this is how. Now whenever you are getting the value, you are like obj dot name. So it will be referring this obj first, and in obj There are three memory locations or three boxes, but it will access this one. Why this one? Because it is obj.name. When you access or when you store the value of roll number, it is obj.roll number. So it will be accessing this. Obj is this, but in obj it will be referring roll number. So I hope you understood the concept of memory allocation of a structure and the object of that structure. Okay, so this is how we can able to uh, execute this code, and like I want to demonstrate the execution also. So you can see here we have the same code. We have declared a structure, and then we have trying to get the value and we are printing it. So once I run this code, so it will be asking me to enter the value. I am entering XYZ. The name is XYZ. Then roll number I am entering is 1 and the marks is 98. So you can see the answer. Name of the student is XYZ, roll number is 1 and marks of the student is 98. So this is how a structure can be executed. Now the next point is, can we have, like, see, in the previous example we have seen that we can have one object. Now one object of a student structure, it means we can able to store the result of one student. Okay, but if I want to restore the result of the full class, then what I need again array of object. So how to create array of object? So here you can see we have declared a structure. Now in that I've used the second method to declare an array. So I have written obj of 3, means this is my object and I have mentioned an array obj of 3. So there will be three objects. Now what will happen? So there will be three big boxes, 1, 2 and 3. Why 3? Because it's an array of an object. So this will be obj of 0, this will be obj of 1 and this will be obj of 2, right? Now here this is the big box, but how many small boxes will be there? So as per the data member, so in data member part I have two data members, roll number and marks. So there will be two boxes. This is for roll number and this is for marks. Same way, roll number, marks, roll number and marks. The size of this array is 4 bytes. Why 4 bytes? It is sum, so it will occupy 2 bytes. This is also occupying 2 bytes. 2 plus 2 is 4. So the size of all the object is 4 bytes. Now, since it is an array, what we need to do? We need to have loop. So we have written a loop. Now in place of obj only, we have written obj of I, because we have array of an object. So obj of I dot roll number. So whenever the value of I is 0, so it is obj of 0 dot roll number. So we have three objects, but right now I am accessing which one? Obj of 0. So it will be referring to this object, and in that I am referring to roll number. So it will be storing the value here in roll number. Likewise, when the value of I is 1, it will be obj of 1. So it will be referring this object, and likewise you can able to access all the objects separately and you can use that as per your requirement. So this is array of an object. So I hope you are clear with this. So if you have any query, any doubt regarding this, you can write me on shikshansetu@gmail.com. Thank you for watching the video.